Today's Spotlight on Naperville is brought to you in part by Welcome back to Spotlight on Naperville. I'm Nancy Wearsome, and now we're going into the Morton Arboretum for a theater hike. So let's welcome people from Theater Hikes. Raphael Schwartzman is the director for Theater Hikes, for Resurrected, one of the shows, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So good to have you. Mike Manship is a playwright. Mm-hmm. And Liz Hoffman is costume designer for Enchanted April and Resurrected.
Correct.
So welcome to all of you.
Thank
Raphael,
you.
Let's start by talking about Theater Hikes. It is such a clever concept.
Yeah, one of the things that I really love about Theater Hikes is I think it does something that there aren't really very many companies that are doing this. Theater Hikes is kind of about 3 E's: environment, exercise, and entertainment. So all of Theater Hikes shows are taking place outdoors, which is something that some theaters are doing, where you go out into the parks, for example, and you come and you see a show on a stage. But Theater Hikes doesn't have stages. We actually use nature. So we go out into a park like Morton Arboretum, and the hike itself, we start in a place, we have a scene, then the scene ends. Then the audience gets up. They take a hike through nature. They take a walk, then there's another scene happening. They sit, they watch the new scene, and then they go on usually about a 2-mile hike. So the audience gets a chance to experience the beauty of the Morton Arboretum, as well as go on this hike through a wonderful place and see a theater show at the same time.
It's so clever and unique. So unique. It must be so much fun with all this nice weather, too, that we've had.
Absolutely.
So now, right now, you have going on Your Good Man, Charlie Brown,
That's right? Yep.
So just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the schedule is very easy because it goes by month. And so until the end of August, we have Your Good Man, Charlie Brown, which is a really great family show. It was a Broadway musical, it was a hit on Broadway, and this is the revised version. It has more music in it. It's a great family show because there's not a whole lot of movement and there's a lot of music. There's a chance for the kids to meet the characters, for example, in between the first and the second act, and it's very family friendly. It's kind of like it's based on the old Peanuts cartoon.
Right, yeah.
And if you take a day in the life of Charlie Brown, except this is like every day in the life of Charlie Brown, so it's like just the same characters that you get to know through the comic strip.
So as you're walking to the next scene, you might be walking with Snoopy.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Or even have a photo op with him or something like that, which is really great. Yeah,
okay.
They do a lot of that kind of interactive stuff.
Sounds like so much fun.
Yeah.
And Liz, now the next show is Enchanted April.
That is correct.
So tell us about that one.
Well, it's set in 1922. The first act takes place in England and the second act takes place in Italy. And it revolves around these 4 women, and kind of they're at each a crossroads in their lives where things have happened and they've come to a point where they're not really sure, as one of our characters like to say, what their after is going to be. Their before is behind them and their after is in front of them, and they're not really sure how to quite transition into that. And so it's sort of a story of how they figure out where they want to go from there in their lives and kind of come into their own. It's really a beautiful, lovely story.
And you do the costumes, right?
I do.
So are they
yes.
period costumes?
They are. They are. It's a
very,
very period costume-heavy show. So lots of beautiful flapper dresses.
So
and
you
everything.
must have fun with that.
I do. It's actually my favorite era, so I was so excited to get to do it.
Oh, wow. Very, very nice. And then tell us a little bit about Resurrected.
Sure. Resurrected will be every weekend in October at Morton Arboretum, as well as a performance on Columbus Day. And the shows in August and September of the first 2 shows are at 1 o'clock, and this one is actually a little bit later. It's at 3. And that has to do with the crowds that are coming to Morton Arboretum because of the leaves changing that you mentioned. So it's a really beautiful time to be in the Arboretum. And the show itself is 5 Chicagoland. They're not necessarily ghost stories, but they all they're all sort of macabre stories that relate to life and death. Like the Resurrection Mary is one of them, which is a famous hitchhiker story that is based on Archer Avenue which is just southeast of here, the Resurrection Cemetery. So we've taken a lot of stories that have to do with life and death and these sort of fables related
just
to the
in
Chicago
time for Halloween.
Exactly. And incorporating the theater hikes element. It's a really nice fit with the theater hikes, sort of.
Yes, it sounds like and you're outside.
Exactly, yeah.
And Raphael, now let's talk about a little bit more the experience of doing this at a place like Morton Arboretum?
It's really incredible because you really never know what's going to happen. You know, you're outside, and as much as, I think theater people, we always want to plan everything out and know exactly this is, and cue here, bam, this happens. But when you're outside, anything can happen. You have to be ready for so much. So as an artist, you got to wait for that perfect moment for the breeze to come through, and then it transforms everything. As an audience member, I think it's really exciting too, because you're hiking through nature. You get the chance to experience not only the sunshine and the leaves and the trees, but you also get to be in the same physical place as the actors. And I would say that probably the most beautiful thing about it is that I think, uniting so much about the human experience of physical health, your living life in the moment, and partnering with the Morton Arboretum is wonderful because we get to promote so many things that I think are so easy to get lost in the technology age of phones and everything. We just get to take a break from all of that and be outside, be with other people, and experience something beautiful.
And you probably keep the sets very minimal too,
there's
because
almost
you're picking it
nothing.
up
Almost
and
no
walking
set.
on.
So it's very minimal. Even costumes, we have to pay attention to the atmosphere. Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be hot? How do we adapt to that? And how do we communicate a story without a set, without necessarily, maybe it doesn't even take place outside, but we have to find a way to
So you
adjust.
probably have to even be better actors and actresses because you really are creating this.
And you have to hold
So-
attention when you're outside amongst things that grab
when
the
the bird
eye.
goes by and
Yeah.
distracting. Well,
Right.
I think it is unbelievably creative. I'm so happy to know about it, and thank you so much for coming
Thank you,
on
Nancy.
tonight. We hope to see you out at the Morton Arboretum
We hope
Great.
to see
for
you.
theater
Thank you.
hikes.
Thank you so much.
you.
We're going to take a very brief break. When we come back, more Spotlight on Naperville, so don't go anywhere.